we also know another player's coming back soon, and that's Precious Achiuwa. Achiuwa coming back means a lot of good things for this team, but it also means another thing. Rotation changes are coming, and that's something that nobody can deny. When you get other players back on this team, players that Tom Thibodeau trusts, it's only going to happen where players you're seeing right now that are having a good impact or having some minutes, even the rookies at times, like Pacome Dadier, like Tyler Kolek. When you see Deuce McBride come back, when you see Mitchell Robinson come back, when you see Precious Achiuwa come back, ask yourself a question. Are you still going to be able to see those guys again? Or are other players going to be taking up those spots, going to be taking up those minutes? Because according to James L. Edwards, when Precious Achiuwa comes back, an instant change for the bench is going to happen. Let's take a look at exactly what Edwards had to say here. He answered the following question on his mailbag that he had recently. And the question that was asked of him was, what do you think the rotation will look like when Precious Achiuwa returns? And according to him, this was his response. I'm going to go with the usual starters. After them, McBride, Payne, Achiuwa, and Matt Ryan off the bench. Matt Ryan can shoot the ball, but he can't play defense. He chases people on defense, gets lost on defense. Tom Thibodeau saw that 3 times, pulled him out. We never saw him again. Never saw any more Matt Ryan minutes. We saw Pacome Dadier over Matt Ryan. I think it's safe to say that Matt Ryan right now is probably holding a place for a returning Landry Shamet or somebody else like that. Because I think right now, the definition of situational is going to be Matt Ryan. Situational to the highest degree. But going back to this, I do agree to an extent. He says McBride, he says Achiuwa, and he says Payne. I agree with all of those guys off the bench. And if you're going to add another player, I can potentially see them even adding Pacome Dadier, maybe adding Jericho Sims. Those are other players they can have off the bench. That's likely what you're going to see in the rotation. He did go on to mention, James L. Edwards did here, he states, it is possible that if Ryan gets nudged out of Thibodeau's rotation because Tom Thibodeau wants to play bigger, he can keep one of either Bridges, Anunoby, or Hart on the floor at all times. But if he's going to play 9 guys, those are the 9 guys that James is going with. I can understand. I can see where he's coming from with that. Like I said, it makes some sense to some degree. Maybe it has to be a situational lineup. I agree with everything he said except for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is not part of that rotation. It's either going to be Pacome Dadier or it's going to be Jericho Sims. One of those guys, and that's it. And the reason I say Jericho Sims is because we need to experiment what it's going to look like once we get Robinson back. Because once we get Robinson back, what do you think? You think Achiuwa's not going to be played anymore? You think Achiuwa's going to be gone? You think Achiuwa's not going to be there? I don't think so. Achiuwa's definitely going to still have a role. So is Mitchell Robinson. So you're going to have to figure out how that works. That's why I would think if you're going to play 9 people, if you're Tom Thibodeau, you're going to play Precious Achiuwa and Jericho Sims off the bench because you're going to do that anyways with that double big once Mitchell Robinson comes back. And we already know that Mitchell Robinson is likely going to play minutes with Karl Anthony Towns. Not to start, but he's going to play rotation minutes with Karl Anthony Towns. And James L. Edwards of The Athletic basically confirmed that as well, too. Shout out to him for giving us the following information. He answered the following question in his mailbag. Are there indications when the team is fully healthy that they will have Cat play the 4 with Mitch or Precious Achiuwa at the 5? And according to James L. Edwards, he says the following. It's not something that the Knicks coach Tom Thibodeau has specifically talked about. But I think that the fact that Minnesota felt the need to get Rudy Gobert to play alongside Towns in Minnesota is an indication enough that it'll be used in some capacity, if not as a default. So that's something that we have to understand there. He's basically just confirmed. Once Robinson comes back, just like we saw in Minnesota, the Knicks are going to run the exact same thing. Maybe not the start, but in some capacity, you're going to see it. And here's the reason James L. Edwards gives us for why we're going to see it, why the Knicks are probably going to give us this double big lineup. Has Towns been great defensively playing center in New York so far? No. Is he the only reason the team has struggled on that end? No. The point of attack defense has been as big of an issue as Towns' limitations inside has been as well. And given the expectations of Bridges and Towns on defense, I say the former's performance to date is more concerning. On offense, though, Towns is best as the 5. Him against 90% of opposing centers is almost unfair. On defense, though, I'm not sure where he fits best. The Knicks would be better served with a healthy Robinson playing the 5, but is Towns able to guard a quicker, more agile 4s night in and night out? That's the question. That is a very good point. Is Karl-Anthony Towns able to do that? Because you got to remember, during the time that we play him at the 4, he's going to have to guard other 4s. Towns is not the fastest player on the court. We all know that. The Knicks as a team, we're not that fast anyways. We're one of the worst teams in terms of pace in the entire league. We know that. So given all of that, if he's playing the 4 and somebody else sees that, there is a chance he would get beat. Somebody's going to try to get around him and try to go after him and be aggressive toward him. But if I'm being honest here, is there a difference right now? Are we not seeing the same thing right now? Maybe it's a little different because he's not at the baseline getting beat, but he's getting beat inside. We saw Jonas Valanciunas do it to him. We saw so many other players do it to him from the Bulls. I don't remember. Nikolai Vucevic. There we go. Vuce did it to him. We saw Vuce do it to him. So it's not to say that Karl-Anthony Towns wouldn't do anything inside. He does. But 4 or 5, there's going to be some advantage there, and somebody's going to look to take advantage of it and exploit it. If you have a player like Mitchell Robinson inside, it stops a lot of the penetration issues because not only do you have Mitchell Robinson there, you have Mikal and you have OG Anunoby. You have those two on your court along with Mitchell Robinson over there. That means penetration defense is great. Interior defense is great. And the only issue you're going to have probably is individual defense with some of our players and still transition defense because we're one of the slowest teams in the league. We understand that. But those are the issues that are always going to be there. You can't fix everything. You can fight all of these battles, but you're going to lose some of them. You have to understand your personnel, though, and where they thrive best. As we know, Towns thrives best as a 5 on offense. But does he thrive best on a 5 on defense? I don't think so. That's why I think a switching defense would make the most sense, with Towns playing the 5 on offense and the 4 on defense, and whoever else he plays with as a big next to him plays the 5 on defense. That makes the most sense. It takes the defensive pressure off of Karl-Anthony Towns. It allows him to flourish offensively still. Nothing is taken away from that end. And offensively, because of his size and because of the way the Knicks are going to play, other centers are still going to have to go out and guard him, even though he's playing a switch on 5 in terms of offense and defense. They're still going to have to do that and guard him outside. So he's still going to have the ability to pull out so many different defenders to the 3-point line. He's not going to lose any of that. That's why I hope Tom Thibodeau and this coaching staff will consider, once Robinson returns, better yet, when Precious Achiuwa returns, to let us see this for 10 to 15 minutes a night. Let's see what it looks like. And if the defense looks great, I think that's going to speak for itself. I think that's going to make everybody convinced. And once everybody's convinced, you do what you want to do with the minutes. Do it based off of matchup. I don't care. As long as you understand it's a weapon and something to utilize, that's all I'm here for. He says, assuming Robinson is back to himself when he's cleared to play, I'm sure Thibodeau will try it. It doesn't mean it'll work, but it would be surprising if he didn't at least give it a shot, given the success the Timberwolves had as a team with a more traditional rim protector next to Towns. I'm not sure we'll see it nearly as much with when Achiuwa comes back, who Tom Thibodeau said he hasn't been cleared to practice yet. I could be wrong. It wasn't something that was unleashed much in the preseason when both players were healthy. Given the team's struggle on defense, I wouldn't be shocked to see Thibodeau experiment and see if he has something there. So clearly, given the fact that we have defensive issues right now, clearly defensive issues inside the paint, our interior defense is just not where it needs to be as a team. We all know that. That's going to force Tom Thibodeau to make a rotation change. And that rotation change might be giving me what I have screamed about on this channel for weeks now. The double big lineup. Rotation changes are going to happen. That means some of your favorite players, maybe some of your favorite rookies, Ariel Hukporti, Tyler Kolek, Pacome Dadier, to an extent, Jericho Sims. All of those guys, they're going to become situational when the Knicks get healthy, because you got to make room for Deuce McBride, for Mitchell Robinson, for Precious Achiuwa. How do you do that? You got to stop playing some players, and we already know what players are likely not going to get any more minutes once we're fully healthy. That's kind of the bad news. We're not going to see some of the rookies again, not for a significant time, as long as we stay healthy. The good news is, the best news is, our defense is either going to be league average or better than that. Right now, our defense is almost bottom of the barrel. Our defense right now is not that great. But if we get a player like Robinson back, Achiuwa back, Deuce McBride back, and we can bring that defense to league average or a little bit better, and we have the offense look the exact same as it looks like right now, if we have both of those two things come together, this team is not only unstoppable, we're a nightmare. We're a nightmare for any team looking to go up against us. That means the night before you play the Knicks, you're thinking about that game all night long. If you enjoyed these clips from the live show, be sure to subscribe to the channel and have notifications turned on so you don't miss any new episodes or when we go live. Thanks for watching, Knicks fans, and until next time, peace.